Naina and Kushal stood hand in hand at the airport gate. Their son, Rohan, had just boarded his flight to London. Pride swelled in their hearts, tinged with a sadness they couldn't ignore. As the last passengers disappeared, silence descended. The airport bustle seemed to fade away, leaving Naina and Kushal alone with their echoing footsteps. They walked towards the parking lot, each lost in their thoughts.
He'll be fine.
In the car, Kushal reached for Naina's hand. His touch was familiar, comforting.
Nodding, she tried to believe his words, trying to believe her own.
The silence at home was deafening. Naina wandered from room to room, the air thick with memories. Rohan's guitar lay silent in the corner. His favorite mug sat unused on the kitchen counter. Every corner held a memory, a whisper of his presence. Naina felt a familiar ache in her heart, the emptiness that had threatened to consume her after Rohan left for college.
Finding her there, her shoulders slumped, a forlorn figure against the dying light, he sat beside her, his presence a silent comfort. He didn't need words, he understood. They were in this together, this.
"We need to do something," Kushal said one morning, breaking the silence that had settled over their breakfast. Naina looked up from her coffee, surprised.
What do you mean?
She asked cautiously, afraid to hope. Kushal smiled, a slow, mischievous curve of his lips that tugged at Naina's heart.
It's a surprise,
He said, his eyes twinkling. That night he came home early, a bouquet of lilies in hand, Naina's favorite.
Get ready, Mrs. Naina. Tonight, we reclaim our lives.
Naina laughed, a sound she hadn't heard in days, a sound that warmed her from the inside out. They drove to their favorite restaurant, a cozy Italian place they frequented in their younger days. The familiar aroma of garlic and basil filled Naina with a rush of nostalgia.
I can still remember our first date here, Kushal. The way you made me laugh, it feels like just yesterday.
As they ate, they talked about everything and nothing.
And then, out of nowhere, the photocopier just exploded with paper everywhere. Everyone was scrambling, trying to catch the flying sheets. It was chaos.
Naina listened, captivated by the familiar cadence of his voice, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled.
Remember our late-night drives? The way we used to talk about our dreams until the sun came up?
How could I forget? Those were some of the best times of my life.
As they left the restaurant, hand in hand, Naina realized something profound. The emptiness was still there, but it was softer now, edged with a glimmer of hope. They had each other, and that made all the difference. The next day, Kushal suggested a walk in the park, another ritual from their past. The park was alive with the laughter of children, the chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Naina walked beside Kushal, her hand tucked in his.
It's been a while since we came here, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I almost forgot how peaceful it is.
As they rounded a bend, Naina stumbled over a loose stone. Kushal caught her just in time, his grip firm, reassuring.
Careful now.
A wave of dizziness swept over Naina. She leaned against him for a moment, her heart pounding.
Thank you, Kushal. I guess I need to watch my step more carefully.
The moment passed, but the reminder lingered. Time was indeed moving forward, and they were moving with it. Later that evening, as they sat on their porch, sipping chamomile tea, Naina voiced her fear.
I stumbled today. It made me realize.
She trailed off, unable to articulate the fear that had taken root in her heart. Kushal listened patiently, his gaze never leaving her face. When she was finished, he reached for her hand, his touch a soothing balm on her troubled soul.
We are growing older, Naina, but that's not a bad thing.
He went on to talk about how aging wasn't just about wrinkles and grey hair. It was about wisdom, about perspective, about cherishing the moments, big and small.
Aging means we've lived, we've experienced, we've loved, and we'll keep doing all of that together.
As Naina listened to him, a sense of peace settled over her.
You're right, Kushal. We have each other, and that's all we need.
Together they would embrace whatever the future held, hand in hand, heart to heart.